Have call to order, please.
Yes.
Teresa Aquila, here. Aaron Jennings. He is online. Juanita Black. Here. Roger Edwards. He is absent. Crystal Ayer. And Shalia Herrick. Here. Madam, we have a quorum.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Everybody, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. There is our flag right there. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, so the approval of the minutes. Did the two board members read the minutes? You did? Okay, how about Aaron? Did you read the minutes? I cannot see you. I can only hear you.
Unmute him. Aaron, can you unmute yourself?
Aaron, we need you to unmute yourself. Come on, Aaron, hold us up.
Aaron, you might
I cannot see it. It's behind me. I hope not.
Hey, Aaron, go ahead and type your chat in if you would like.
He is not listening.
Okay, well, you do have the other two board members.
Okay, so I have to see your faces. Did you guys by the chance read the minutes? Okay, so can I have a motion for approval of the minutes? And do I have a second? All in favor? Aye. Any decline? Nope, we are good, moving right along. Okay, we're gonna go to general public comment. I do have one. Pat Davison.
Good evening, congratulations, welcome. My name is Pat Davison. I live up in Rancho Haven. I have two comments for the cab tonight. The first is to let you know, give you a heads up. You may hear when the Board of County Commission gets a report on cab reimagination. There was a crazy idea to have better promotion or marketing for the cab meetings. And I suggested HOAs and Facebook be utilized by the county. So if you hear that crazy idea, you know where it came from. Other people may have suggested it, but I also put it in writing. So the other thing is related to cab information and what's available at the cab meetings. And as you know, on the regular agendas, you have the hub, which is for conceptual projects. They have not actually submitted their development applications yet. And what I'm proposing is that the cabs add to the agenda the current list of projects. And the planning department has a great list on their website, easy to access. It's current submitted projects and it's by district as well as all districts. So that way we'll get the conceptual projects from the hub report and then look at the other website that has the currently submitted projects. The currently submitted on today's planning commission or planning department list is a Red Rock Road abandonment, American Flat. There's an extension of time and a solar project. So it gives you great advance notice about projects coming forward, not only for you as the cab, but for the constituents. So that was it. Thank you very much.
That was it. Good. Gotta keep my assistant here, don't
I know.
Gotta crack the whip on there. Thank you, Pat. We really appreciate that. Since there's no more public comment, we have public safety and we have Sergeant Whitmore from the Washoe County Sheriff's Office. Thank you, sir, for being here. No, gotta let them hear.
All right, good evening. My name is Sergeant Whitmore with the Washoe County Sheriff's Office. I'm not going to bore you guys with a bunch of numbers tonight, but what I will do is talk about what I'm doing for this area. I'm currently the graveyard supervisor for North Patrol on C team, which is the front half of the week. That being said, what I'm seeing more of up here is the DUIs and some vehicle burglaries are on the uptick again. So one of the major contributing factors we've had lately is people leaving valuable items in plain view in their cars. The people that are doing this are going out during the warmest part of the night. It is warming up again quickly, and they're walking around, they're just scoping out the cars. They look in there, and once they see something of value, that's when they test the door handles and or break a window. So in order to stop that from happening, just go back to hide your stuff 101. If you have a GPS unit or change in your cup holders or anything that somebody who is in a bad spot in life and destitute want to get because they think they can get some money for it or trade it for goods or services or narcotics or anything like that, they're going to take it. So take that opportunity away from them because they are creatures of habit. They look for the easy target. They look for the easy pick. They're looking for that unlocked door and so forth. In Rancho Haven, we had a gentleman say, hey, I only hunt off my property once in a while. I'll go out there but I leave all my car keys in all the cars and they're all unlocked. Somebody's walking around on the property. Can you go check it out? And I'm like, well, we're going to do it for you, but can we stop leaving our keys to cars that are easily stolen in them? And that's one of those things I'd like you guys to help us help you out because the numbers are up for the last month. Burglaries were up to 4 from 2 the previous year for February going into March. The drug offenses, you guys are unfortunately in one of those spots where they bypassed the bug station in California coming through here. So drug offenses were getting big loads of marijuana, you got fentanyl and methamphetamine coming through. And one of the best things that we can ask from you is that car that doesn't seem right. Your community is the type of community where you see somebody who's out of the ordinary, you're going to pick up on it before we do. So I have I have 2 young deputies who are hungry. They're out here trying to be very proactive for you guys. But giving those tips, calling in the non-emergency, they're like, hey, there's a car with Colorado plates or Mississippi plates, and it's been idling on the end of the road here. It's weird. Can you come check it out? The average person says, oh, it's just somebody who's idling. Maybe they're making a phone call. We go, okay, Mississippi plates. Nobody from Mississippi drives through Reno, Nevada. That's odd. So it's not necessarily alone indicative of crime. But when we get there and it's a rental car and he says he was in California, but he's really hit on a license plate reader on 4 different states, we can say, okay, well, now the totality of the circumstances, this is indicative of criminal activity. Let me investigate further. And that keeps them out of your neighborhood and out of the community that they're essentially using to victimize the entire state. Okay. For the DUIs, can we catch every DUI driver that's called into dispatch? No. I would be a bold-faced liar if I said it was even a possibility. However, calling that vehicle in, we ATL it to all the sister agencies as well. So if you see somebody coming down Red Rock Road or something like that, coming out of Rancho Haven, and they're all over the place, you're like, that guy looks drunk. Call it in, call the non-emergency dispatch, say, hey, I'm seeing what I think is a DUI driver. They're going this direction of travel. This is the vehicle description and the best plate you can get. Our deputies in the area, they will immediately try to hunt it. But if they can't find it, we ATL it to all the other agencies, and maybe NHP will catch it on the 395 southbound by Moana. And that happens more often than people realize. It doesn't go onto my statistics. It doesn't get put onto our numbers that we give to you, but it does happen. And I want to assure you guys that we're trying our best to stop that. One of the sheriff's pillars this go around is to increase our amount of DUI arrests, which seems counterintuitive. You want more arrests? Wouldn't it be more logical that if we were doing a better job, the arrests would go down? No, just for sheer numbers. The numbers of people that are driving while intoxicated are terrifying. I'd say 1 in 10, I think was the last statistic we got. 1 in 10 is under the influence. That's a lot of people. That doesn't mean they're driving at a 0.35 on their BAC, but it means they could be a 0.06 or 0.09 or 0.10, or they could be under the influence of marijuana, methamphetamine, stuff like that. So your information to us, to the non-emergency dispatch, saying, hey, this is what I'm seeing. That helps us help you in the long run. Otherwise, what I will tell you is this. I have 12 deputies at night, and 2 of them are the hungriest on my shift, and they are up in your community right now. We put them there for a reason. When I pick my staffing for the shift, for the 4-month rotation, I'm very diligent in who I put there and what their skill set is. Based on my experience with them, their skill set up here is hunting drugs and drugs. Right? Every one of my deputies, I can tell you right now, with a little bit of help from supervision, are guaranteed to get a good burglary investigation out of anything that you report as well. So I'm working for you, help us when we can, or when you can, and I will open up for any questions before I leave you to it. Yes, ma'am.
What's ATL stand for?
I'm sorry, that's attempt to locate. So an ATL is, we send it out to the other agencies with a vehicle description, last known direction, travel on what was observed by the reported party. So that attempt to locate. I'm sorry, acronyms. Yes, ma'am.
When you say this area, you say this area of Cold Spring, or you going down Lemon Drive as well?
So our 1B starts at Cold Springs and it goes all the way down to 2B, which is Golden Valley. So there's that little bit of overlap between the two. So we cover all of that. We cover all the way up to Fish Springs. Technically, our jurisdiction on the North Patrol goes all the way up to the border of Idaho.
Okay.
And down to Carson City's line for the entire shift. North stops at the 80, south starts at the 80 and goes to Carson. But we will cover this entire area and I'll put him on blast. Deputy Clark is a very hungry deputy. He is a legacy deputy. His dad was our undersheriff at one point in time. He's trying to say, hey, I'm not my dad. I'm gonna make my own name, and he's doing a good job of it. So he's up here hunting, and he's up here all night long. It's hard to get me, or for me to get him into the station at night to do his paperwork because he's out hunting so long.
I like that.
Anybody else? All right, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for being appreciate that. All right, since the fire department is not here, we'll move on to report on requests for service from previous CAB meetings. So during the February 10th CAB meeting, a constituent suggested adding sections of ways to conduct public discussion with civility, including the dignity index or speak your piece. And the county manager, Manager Brown, reached out to the constituent to express the county will try to address civility when revising the CAB bylaws. All other requests were addressed at the time of the presentation last month. Thank you, sir. Be safe out there. So that is that one. So now we're going to go to Paul Nelson, who is with the Regional Transportation Commission. Mr. Nelson, good to see you.
There's copies of these. Yeah, there's a copy. I make sure I made enough of them.
All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Paul Nelson. I am the Government Affairs Officer at the Regional Transportation Commission. And I'm here just to kind of give you a review, an update, and a preview of some of the things that we've got coming down the line up here in the North Valleys.
You have a computer going on? I can't see behind me. Buying issues. I didn't bring them.
So just a little brief overview here, who we are. We are made up of a board of commissioners. We've got 5 commissioners. 2 of them are from the Washoe County Commission, 2 are from the city of Reno, and then we've also got 1 from the city of Sparks. We've also got Tracy Larkin Thomason. She is ex officio. She's the director of NDOT, and then Bill Thomas is our executive director. Alexis Hill is our chair, and Devin Reese is our vice chair. Slide. So our mission is building a better community with quality transportation, and we do that in 3 different ways. Every day we're out there, we're either doing the metropolitan planning, doing the long-term and short-range plans for the region. We're also doing the engineering and the construction of the regional roadways. And finally, we operate the public transportation system. So on the public transportation note, fixed route transit is known here as RTC rides, the backbone of our transit system. And during the last 12 months, we've provided more than 5.6 million rides, almost 5.7 million rides. We've also had 31 straight months of ridership growth. So that's something that we really like to see because nobody likes to see empty bus going up and down the street. We like to see those full. So ridership growth is really good. 60% of those are for work trips. So we know how important this service is for the community, for the economy, for people to get to and from work so that they can go out, make a living, put food on their tables and raise their kids. We also have a fleet of 100% sustainable buses. So about a third of those are all electric. They get about 70 to 100 miles per charge. We've also got 2/3 of it is diesel electric hybrid, and now we're moving into our hydrogen fuel cell buses. The hydrogen fuel cell buses are electric buses, but instead of having to charge them overnight, what we do is we fill them up with hydrogen for about 10 minutes, and then the hydrogen charges that battery. So we've got 2 of those already. We're working on getting the other 6. We've got 6 of them on order. We're expecting to get those in the next 2 or 3 months, hopefully. And then also we'll be putting in a fueling facility over at our Sutro facility to fill those buses up. So some successes we've got. One of our most successful bus lines, or 2 of them, it's our bus rapid transit. And this is our Virginia line and our Lincoln line. These 2 are by far our busiest lines. Virginia line gets, you can see, almost 1 million rides in the last 12 months. Lincoln line, more than 450,000 rides. So combined, that's 1.43 million trips that we provided just on these 2 lines alone. That's about 25% of our overall ridership, and we've got 20 routes. So this has been very successful. One of the reasons that we think that it is so successful is because we operate kind of like a light rail system. Every 10 minutes, you're going to have a bus show up. So if you miss the first bus, there's another one right behind it 10 minutes later. So out here in the North Valleys, we've got Route 7 that comes out here. It starts down at the 4th Street Station in Reno, and it goes up Virginia Street and all the way up to Echo Avenue over there by not too far from the Reno State Airport. It is one of our busier routes. In December, we had 27,000 trips. So in the last 12 months, there's been 360,000 trips. So this is one of our busiest routes. Another thing we've got up here in the North Valleys is our microtransit that we call FlexRide. This is basically our version of Uber or Lyft, where it's on demand and it's curb to curb. So if you're in one of those zones, Sparks and Spanish Springs, North Valleys, Somerset and Verdite, or the South Meadows, we've got this area where you can see on that map right there, that's the North Valleys. Anywhere within that bubble, you can call up a FlexRide. It costs $2.50 a ride or $3 a day, and you can go anywhere within that bubble. If you want to go farther outside of that bubble, that bus will take you to one of our fixed ride bus stations, and you can hop on that and you can go down to Reno or Sparks or wherever you need to get. And it's no more charge either. It counts for that bus ride too. A couple other really good programs we have. We have the Senior Ride Taxi Bucks program. This is a card that if you're 60 years old or older, veteran or person with a disability, you can apply for this card, and it auto loads $60 to that card every month. You can use that for a taxi or an Uber or a Lyft. It doesn't roll over, so it's use it or lose it. But at the start of the month, it's going to reload and you get that $60 for the next month. I'll just say that my parents are both in their 70s. And they signed up for it strictly because that way they can have an easier way to get to the airport. They don't have to deal with parking. They don't have to bother somebody to give them a ride to the airport. Another good one we have is the van pool program. This is it's a carpool program between people that work in the same area and live in the same area. So it's 5 to 15 people. We have a fleet of 340 vans. We're a top 10 in the nation. Right now, we're right around number 6 in the country. And that's because we've got people that go all over the place. We've got people working in Carson City, Lake Tahoe, Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, Susanville. So there's a lot of people that they're sharing these vehicles, and it makes a lot of sense because Enterprise will provide the vehicle. They pay for the registration and all that good stuff. We provide a subsidy for them, and then the employer can also provide a subsidy. So it makes it very affordable for people to use this service. And if you look there, 2024, we saved more than 20 million miles of travel on our roadways just in our region. So next steps in public transportation. A lot of people are moving farther and farther away from using cash. I hardly ever have cash on me. So one of the things we're doing is we're moving to a cashless system for our buses. So you can either go to a kiosk in one of our bus stations and you can buy your pass, or you can go onto our transit app, pay for the bus pass there. Or what we're doing next is going on to our buses and putting in those little card readers. So you can just do a little tap and pay. You can use your bus pass that's already got the money on it, or even use your debit card or credit card. So we're making it more convenient for people that don't carry cash with them. Another thing we're doing is we're upgrading our software for FlexRide Access. So the FlexRide vehicle that you saw up there, we call it cutaways. That's the exact same vehicle that we use for our access, for our paratransit. So if somebody, say, comes out here with an access van and drops a customer off in, say, over there in Golden Valley or something, that access van just goes back to the shop without a customer in it. But if somebody needs a flex ride, we can use that access van as a flex ride. So it saves time and it saves vehicle miles and all that. So we're really looking forward to intermingling those two services. So planning is another very important thing we do. We are the Metropolitan Planning Organization. And just a couple of weeks ago, our board approved our 2050 Regional Transportation Plan update. So what this is this is really our guiding document for everything that we do with our construction projects. For the next 25 years, we've got projects laid out where we prioritize things like safety, congestion, air quality, pedestrian and bicycle facilities. Anything that goes along with transportation and the metropolitan planning that goes along with it, we put into this document. So every project that we do between now and 2050 has to be in this document. And then later down the road, we have what's called the RTIP, which is our 5-year plan. And that's where we really kind of, hunker down and figure out what are our biggest priorities and what can we accomplish in the next 5 years. So we recently did the active transportation plan. And one of the things that came out of that is what we call our neighborhood network plan. So this was, this is a component of the RTP. What we did is we took our entire region, we broke it up into 12 different neighborhoods, and we're going one by one to each of these neighborhoods, and we're talking to the community members and finding out what's important to them in terms of making their neighborhood safer for pedestrians and people that are riding their bikes and scooters. So the first neighborhood, there was a scoring system. First neighborhood that we went and talked to people was number 9, right there in the middle of the map. Right now, we've been working over there in Central Sparks, talking to them about what they want. Next, we're moving on to Sun Valley, so on and so on. So really what we're looking at is how can we improve the infrastructure, whether that's sidewalks, bike lanes, traffic signals, crosswalks, anything that'll make it more comfortable and safer for people that want to walk or ride their bikes around their neighborhoods. So engineering, this is a big one that we all go through every summer. A lot of construction, a lot of orange cones around town. So in fiscal year 2024, we invested more than $81 million into our construction. And that's actually good for the economy too, because it provided more than 2,600 jobs. So some of the things we've got up here in the North Valleys, if you look up there at that chart, that first block, that's the RTC project. So we've got about 7 projects, 8 if you count the ones that we completed last year. There's 8 between 2024 and 2028 that we plan on taking care of in the next 3 or 4 years. So I'll get to those on the slides. So some recently completed projects that we did last year. We had some smaller projects, but they're pretty impactful. Raleigh Heights, we redid that road. That was a corrective job. So we took the top layer of pavement off and we put a new layer down. Selmy Drive, we did that one. And then North Virginia Street University, that's not necessarily North Valleys, but we know a lot of people use that corridor to get home if they're coming up to the North Valleys. So coming up in 2025, Buck Drive circulation. So this is a smaller project, but we also think that it makes a big difference. We're going to put a new traffic signal in at Buck Drive and Northfields Boulevard. And we're also going to widen Buck Drive between Lemon Drive and Northfields Boulevard. There's also going to be some access management over there. There's a little shopping center right there, a lot of deliveries, truck traffic. So we're going to make some improvements to that. Also coming up in 2026, military road capacity and safety projects. So this is going to go from Lemon Drive to Lear Boulevard. We're going to widen the roadway for better traffic flow. Right now it's 2 lanes. We're going to widen that to 4 lanes and also have that center turn lane. We're going to make some improvements to some of the intersections along that roadway. There's a lot of residential and industrial in that area. So we're aware of all the different types of traffic. We'll be making some improvements for the people that want to ride their bikes and walk in that area. There'll be a multi-use path, sidewalks, and we'll be making some drainage improvements. So overall, we think this is a really good project, and we'll get started on that next year. Another one we have planned for next year is the Lemon Drive Traffic Improvements and Resiliency Project. This one is, we're planning on realigning the existing roadway onto a berm that's already there. And that will take that road above the 100-year floodplain. We saw in 2017 where that lake flooded and it was going over the roadway. They had to bring in the HESCO barriers and pump water out, and it was a mess. So bringing this roadway up above that floodplain is important for evacuations for residents and also for emergency responders to be able to get to those neighborhoods. It's going to also be a wider road, but it's still going to be 2 lanes in each direction with a center turn lane. We'll also have a multi-use path alongside that roadway. In 2026, NDOT has another project. This is the US 395 and Virginia Street North Valleys. So right now they're working on phase 1B over there, south of, I guess it's McCarran Golden Valley. This will be the next phase. So between Golden Valley and Stead Boulevard, they're planning on widening that road. They're also going to be doing part of that multi-use path and things like that along North Virginia Street. That's part of our stuff that we're working on. So we applied for a grant a few years ago that combined our project with NDOT's project for $89 million. So we're really excited about that work. And I think the people out here will be really happy once that roadway is widened and the construction is over with. It makes it a lot easier to get to and from places out here. Stead signal improvements. This is in 2026. So North Virginia Street to Lear Boulevard will be installing fiber optics. This is really to make the operations of the traffic signals a lot better, really allow better traffic flow. We'll be making some upgrades to some of the older structures on those traffic signals. There's also, let's see, left turn safety improvements at Lear Boulevard. So the intersection itself will make some improvements right there. And some of the equipment like I mentioned. In 2027, the North Valley's North Virginia Street Capacity Project. So this goes from Panther Drive to Stead Boulevard. The plan is to widen that roadway from 2 lanes to 4, from Panther all the way up to Stead. We're not going to start on this project. Right now it's tentative for 2027, but we're not going to start this project until NDOT's project is done, that phase 2 project, because we don't want to clog up North Virginia Street and 395 at the same time.
Thank you.
So, the plan is to move forward as soon as that's done, really to relieve a lot of the traffic pressure that we're already seeing on that roadway. And we'll be also making a lot of pedestrian improvements. We'll be making some improvements to some of our bus stops and putting in some flashing pedestrian beacons in some areas. So this will be a lot safer and it'll have a lot more capacity, less congestion. Moya Boulevard capacity. This is in 2027. This will go from Red Rock Road to Echo Avenue. We're going to add another lane in each direction. So we'll go from 2 lanes to 4 lanes. And also the same kind of thing. We'll be making some additional improvements for people that are walking and biking in the area. So they'll include a multi-use path and a sidewalk. If you've noticed, every single project that I mentioned up here, we're doing not just road improvements for people that are driving, but also for everyone that wants to use the roadway. It's part of our Complete Streets program, so that when we're going in there and we're doing work, we're thinking of the community as a whole, not just people that are driving. So that one we plan on getting underway in 2027. So this doesn't have a direct impact on the North Valleys, but it has an impact on everyone in the region that we think anyway. And that's looking for alternate routes between Reno and Sparks and USA Parkway. We know that Highway 80 is already pretty congested. If there's weather or a crash, traffic gets backed up for miles. Takes a long time for people to get home. NDOT is planning on widening the freeway between USA Parkway and Sparks to 3 lanes in each direction. But we know that that's not enough. We need to have more options for people to get there. So 2 of the things that we're looking at right now are alternate routes. One, possibly from Wamasada down to USA Parkway. The other one would be South Meadows Parkway. It goes over to USA Parkway. We're also doing a feasibility study right now for commuter points to see if that would be an option for people to get from Reno and Sparks out to USA Parkway and take that many more cars off of the road. We already have a lot of van pools that are operating out there, and that's helped relieve some of the congestion, but we know that a lot of work needs to be done still. The possible funding would be federal grants public-private partnerships. We've done a lot of discussions with Story County, Lyon County, some of the big businesses out there to try to figure out some ways that we can pay for these roads. And one of the options you guys have probably heard about would be perhaps making a toll road. So that was heard in the legislature just a couple of weeks ago, AB 61, which would give Sparks the ability to study the, whether or not a toll road would work. It's possible that building a toll road, it wouldn't pencil out, it wouldn't pay for it anyway, so we'd have to find something else. But we're not going to spend taxpayer money to study something that's not legal in our state anyway. So those are the things that we're looking at right now. We're trying to leave no stone unturned and really try to figure out a better option for people to get out there. So revenues, fiscal year 2025, we have $253 million. 42% of that is fuel tax. And so you can see that's the bulk of the funding that we get. Sales tax is 18%. We do get some federal funding. Some of that is automatic, as we call it, formula funding. And then we also have some discretionary funding that we apply for. Passenger fees makes up 1.5%. We do get a little bit from NDOT, and then we also get some other funding for things like RIF, which is when there's developers that come in. For every unit, they pay about a $5,000 fee, and that goes to the infrastructure to make improvements that are a result of some of these developments. Expenditures, so $284 million is what we're spending. Clearly, that's a lot more money than the revenues that we have. That's not because we're borrowing money or going into debt. We actually planned ahead for this, so we put money aside planning for these projects that we have coming up. So transit makes up about 30% of our expenditures. New roadway projects, like a lot of the ones that I was talking about 28.4%. Preservation and multimodal projects, so that's like our pavement preservation program, where we keep our good roads good. That's where that money goes. We do have a little bit of debt that we're paying, and then our operating is 1.6%. And with that, I'll take any questions. I also have Amanda Caligari here. She is one of our engineering managers. She has all the knowledge, so if I don't know the answers, she can help out.
Stop sharing, so they have me in mind.
Go ahead.
I have a question. My name is Susan.
I'm gonna stop.
So I talked with, I heard of our community a little bit, but at what stage of the Lemon Valley, the Lemon Drive improvements are you now?
So we're only at 30% level design right now. We're working through our final technical studies for the NEPA or the environmental studies. And then that will be presented to the public around June time, the draft document. And then we'll be proceeding with final design or 60% after that.
Now, the core samples for that berm, have they been done?
We have done the geotechnical effort for that part.
That's something that I could get if I submitted a FOIA or something. Could I get the core sample result?
Yeah, we actually don't have a final geotechnical report, but once we do, yes, we could share that with the public.
In the stages of. Or
We'll likely get a draft report of our geotechnical report at 60% and usually a final around 90. Yeah, of course.
And then the other thing I'm surmising that a lot of things are paid for with our gas tax or fuel tax, so we probably will see nothing. The citizens would really like those taxes to go down because we are the highest county taxed in the nation. So apparently you're probably going to continue with all of this, which, you know, is needed, but we're very concerned about the taxes that we have to pay for fuel.
Yeah, so we do index the fuel here, and that's based on a 10-year rolling average. And really without that, we wouldn't be able to keep up with our costs to build these roads and to keep our good roads good. It's something that the voters approved, so we have no control over that. We can't just stop doing it. It's something that the voters approved, so we follow the law.
And it would have to be put back on the ballot again.
And one of the things that we are looking at though is EV parity, because a lot more people are driving EVs, they're driving hybrids, and we're seeing, even with the indexing, we're seeing that there's more miles driven, but our fuel tax revenue is kind of staying fairly flat. And that's because of fuel efficiency. So with the money that we're not getting from the fuel, we're looking at possible ways of a fee for people that drive electric vehicles and possibly the hybrids too. So when you register your vehicle, if you have an EV, when you register your vehicle, you pay like a flat fee. And theoretically, it would be in line with the average of what people would pay every year for their fuel taxes.
Yeah, and Paul, correct me if I'm wrong, but the average Northern Nevada only pays about $200 per year in taxes in local fuel taxes that come to the RTC. The average driver in Northern Nevada, only 200 of your dollars are going towards fuel taxes that fund our program, so it's very little. But it does have a big impact. You look at other cities and counties that don't index and their entire communities are falling apart, roadways are falling apart. They don't have the funding to provide the additional capacity. So even projects like you're seeing on 395 or some other projects where we're pitching in local fuel tax funds, those wouldn't be happening if it weren't for those index funds.
My question is, pretty simple, but first I just wanted to make a statement. I go to a lot of planning meetings, and at every meeting, of course, there's some complaint about transportation infrastructure not keeping up with the growth in the area. So I think your PowerPoint is very helpful. And if it's possible, and I throw this to the CAB and to staff, can your PowerPoint be put on the CAB website as a presentation? So it's there as a reference?
Yeah, definitely.
That would be great. Then I can point people to that. Thank you.
With me being first timers and then RTC, learning who you are, work by you guys, post office across the street, and I see the guys over there with move buses and everything. First, I have to say the 5 years that I've been here, the roundabout on Emmett Drive, great job. And it is good to know now that I know now who is behind all that. You guys did a great job with the roundabout, and I just like to say thank you. I don't know if that was part of the meeting, but
That's okay. No.
I didn't know. It was good to know.
All good.
It's very informative.
Any more questions?
As we're having more growth out here in the valleys, is there plans to have additional bus stops for more people to access? Because I know instead there's a few, but sometimes it's a longer walk to get to those stops. So is there a plan for more?
We are just now getting started with our transit optimization planning strategies, which we do that every 3 years. And what comes out of that is we look at our entire bus system and we figure out where most of the ridership is happening and what is the most efficient way to do it. So that's the talks that will come out of this. So I'm not sure how long it takes, but yeah, in the next year or two, we should have some answers on that.
So how would you know where the holes are with the not riding the bus today? What's the problem?
So if there's not a bus,
I could try and answer. So this is where public input is very important. So if you guys see a need, we know we have a lot of needs in the North Valleys and people that have already reached out, people that live off of Sky Vista and Military who are looking for additional services. If you guys see that need, please contact RTC, our transit department, our public transportation department, and they can at least make note of it. And the more need they recognize, then the better they could justify bringing public transit out. And I know you touched on likely the paratransit and how that ties into our overall backbone fixed ride network. So that is one of the ways we're trying to branch out and reach people further out.
So I just want to say, I've not lived here very long, just 21 years, but when I moved here, the bus would go all the way to the back of London Valley. But I also watched the ridership almost be nil from that, so I get it. But with all the growth that we have in our community, there are people in the back of that valley that probably have youngins
Yeah.
that need to get on the buses to get to North Valley or wherever, whatever. So that's kind of the genesis of the question is now those, how do those folks find out? So putting the deck on the website probably agrees. Putting it on the website probably would be helpful, but I've watched it ebb and flow and just curious then how a new family in the back of London Valley, especially now that, don't shoot me for saying this is gonna put 500 homes back there, they're gonna need to know.
They would.
Okay.
And one of the last meetings I was at out here, I did hear from one person that new apartment complexes down there. I think it's by the Shell station on Red Rock. They see flex ride vehicles out there all the time. So she was wondering, could we expand our fixed route out to that area? So that's something that will come from that TOPS plan that we're working on.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you. We
Appreciate your time, both of you. Very informational. Do we have anybody online that wanted to have any questions? Nope. Okay. Well, now we're going to talk about the neighborhood development hub. That is south. It's me. Let me go ahead and find that. It might. Just trying to get to the right page. Sorry about this, folks. Get there? Sorry about, yeah, I haven't quite got there yet, but we'll get there here and now. Okay, so I like to go there by going to the connect with your commissioner page on the on Washoe County website, the Board of County Commissioners. And if you scroll down to the bottom of that page, you have the hub portal right here. It's the neighborhood hub. And then you go ahead and go on to there. And you can come down and see the upcoming events. We'll let that go ahead and circle for a second. So we do have the ones that are right over the side, and it'll tell you when the meetings were. And it also shows you through here, it's like this American water facility. You can go down to the side and find that. Up there, and I'll tell you when the meetings were held. This particular one was held on January 30th. And then down below, if you go down, it'll tell you the different things that had happened. And you can look at the documents that were given with that. There's comment cards that were put in. And so it's like this particular one was a comment card that was put in there. But they do list all of the comment cards that were put into the different areas for that. But we don't have anything coming up right now. But that's how you get to the neighborhood hub. Thank you, Sally. Board member announcements, request or discussion? Yes, no, maybe? Aaron online? He's a silent voice tonight. All right. So now we'll have it open for general public comment again. If anybody has any wants to speak. If not, that was quick. I look for a motion for adjournment. You have something to say? Okay, say it.
Here you got my first meeting.
You're not gonna get off that easy.
Being my first meeting and seeing what, this meeting's all about, our community. I know, like she was saying, we have kids back in Lemon Valley, way back there. And would this help, get more parks back there? with meetings
For
like
this meeting here, we
Yeah.
can request and send information to the commissioners, but we don't make, we're just an advisory board. That's all we do is advise. So we take the information here, it gets recorded. Sally will then put it together and do a presentation from the CAB.
That's what my son said, that's about parks.
Is that something that you would like as a presentation
Yeah,
for parks?
I would
or
Yeah.
Valleys?
I'd like to have.
Let me
more
go ahead and.
parks.
Yeah, you can make that
I
first.
checked, I checked once and all that land back there, the city had it, but they're not doing anything with it.
So that, if that owns the city, that wouldn't be our parks, that would be the city.
Okay,
That would go through the NABs.
I checked once a couple years ago. Okay, that's all I had.
But you can have the county parks come and
Yes.
they can talk about whatever, because I know the growth for the, is gonna be in all of the North Valleys for the next large. Washoe County's populace is gonna be North Valleys. That's the only place land was left. You know, they didn't like us for many years and now they love us because we're the only ones with land.
All the water, and they started building on Moab, or Moya.
On Moya, yeah, that was, you know, the military there. And Moya doesn't flood like Lemon Valley does, because it is up a little higher, but you have the, Silver Lake. You have the lake there, and I've never seen that water. I've lived out here just about all my life in the North Valleys. I've never seen that water go over the edge, ever. So. And that's the runoff. The city did want to build on half of that because they own half the property of that lake. But when the lake filled up here not too long ago, they abandoned that. Good idea. Yes, ma'am.
Is driving and he's unable to unmute. And that comes from this end. I know that from Zoom.
I've been trying.
He's been clicking unmute.
Yeah, well, he's with us.
Yeah, we see him up there. We see him up there. That's okay. We have these ladies that can help out. It's tough when you're driving. You gotta stay focused, right? No distractions. All right, I look for a motion for adjournment. Is you have something on?
No.
Okay. Motion for adjournment? Second. All in favor? Any abstain? Okay. Thank you, everybody, for coming. We appreciate it. Ladies, great to meet you. Thank you for being here. You too, Wanda. Or Juanita.